Hello there guys, Dave80 right here, and today I got a brief little movie review for you, or at least I'm going to try to keep this brief. Now, Batman v Superman just came out today, or at least officially. Of course, there are early screenings, but today's March 25th when I'm filming this, and I just saw the movie, just saw it in 3D to be specific, and I apologize for the fact that this review is inevitably going to be uploaded at least a week late, possibly more. I hope not. I'm going to try to keep it just a week late at the most, but we'll see. Anyway, so this is just going to be my first reaction review video. I do believe I'm going to be making another video later on, possibly with my friend that I'm going to be visiting pretty soon. Not Black X 7, someone else you'll see, or maybe not. And if I don't end up meeting up with him and making a video with him, then I'll just make another one more in-depth by myself. But this is just my first reaction. Batman v Superman. It was a good movie, for sure. I really enjoyed this movie, and I definitely disagree with a lot of the people that are just straight up saying this movie sucks. I mean, why? This is not that bad of a movie. It's not one of the best superhero movies ever made, and I wouldn't even quite say it's a great movie, though it is almost great. Let's talk about, you know, one of the main things that, people have been concerned about. Ben Affleck as Batman. He's really good in this movie, especially as Bruce Wayne. As Batman, there are a couple times where I was like, let's see how he does in other movies. Like, definitely, you can see him fitting into these shoes as Batman a little bit better in the future. But yeah, for now, he was good. I can definitely see the potential of him becoming great later on. But all around, he was a great Bruce Wayne and a good Batman. Really likable. Some excellent fight scenes with him. Really good choreography. Definitely different from the Dark Knight films. It doesn't use the Casey fighting method. This is a bit more, over the top, but in a good way, like a good comic book movie should be. And it's pretty brutal. I mean, there's just a great fight scene with him against a bunch of guys in a warehouse, and it's just, oh man, it's brutal and really fast-paced, and just, it's a great fight scene. And just that alone almost was worth the price of admission. I mean, that was just an excellent fight scene. And just all throughout, he's great. Henry Cavill, still excellent as Superman. Amy Adams is great as Lois Lane. Gal Gadot, she's not in the movie that much, but she was pretty good. I mean, she wasn't exactly great in the Fast and Furious movies, but she was pretty darn good in this movie. And I can't wait to see Wonder Woman in 2017. I think that's going to be a great movie. Speaking of 2017, Justice League is coming out. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track here. All the acting is great. Well, for the most part. Okay, here's the thing. Jesse Eisenberg. From the start, I thought that was terrible casting. Ben Affleck, I was never worried about. You might not believe me, but yeah, I was never personally worried about Ben Affleck. I was kind of surprised. I was like, Jeremy Jahns, why are you talking about crap about him? I mean, did you just praise the ever-loving crap out of him in Argo? But anyways, Jesse Eisenberg, though, I was like... Here's the thing, though. They weren't trying to go for the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor or the Kevin Spacey Lex Luthor, which is the same as the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor, because Bryan Singer, he was just trying to copy a lot of elements of the Richard Donner movie. Okay, that's saying a bit too harshly, because I actually do like Superman Returns, but anyways. And personally, I've just never liked Lex Luthor. I've always thought he was boring. I mean, I hear he's great in the comics, and I don't know, maybe I'll check out some storylines in the comics, see if he can be done better than what I've seen. But as far as, like, what I've seen in the movies, which is what I mainly know him by, Lex Luthor specifically, other characters I do know from the comics more. Anyways, I've always thought he was boring. I didn't like him. However, this is a different type of character from that character. This is a very different Lex Luthor. And to the point where he almost doesn't really feel like Lex Luthor. But that's not such a bad thing, because I don't like Lex Luthor. And yeah, Jesse Eisenberg, he plays a pretty similar character to the other characters he's played in the past, but with much more edge to him. You can definitely see, I mean, he's crazy, he's eccentric, but you can definitely see in his eyes, like, I probably shouldn't cross this guy. And he does come off as effectively creepy in this movie. I was kind of intimidated by him in some scenes. I mean, he's goofy and over the top and silly, and a couple times it does get to be a little bit too much, but for the most part, he was a creepy villain in this movie. So he served his purpose well. All the acting in this movie is good. The special effects, I mean, the CGI, you can tell it's CGI, but it's still good. Everything looks cool. Just all the action is great, the action involving Superman as well. There isn't quite as much action as I would have expected in this movie. However, that's a good thing, because, Man of Steel, I mean, like, Man of Steel, I disagree with people who say there's too much action, there was no character development, but there's even more character development in this movie, so it's cool. I mean, you do really get to, like, Ben Affleck as Batman in this movie because he has a lot of screen time, and there's a lot of low-key scenes, and I really liked how this movie, takes time to let you get to know the characters and develop them, and, I mean, plus there's just the fact that it's Batman. You're gonna like Batman or Wonder Woman. She's cool. I mean, she doesn't get a whole lot of development, but she's about to have her own standalone movie. But the main problem comes in with the pacing. Remember, as I said, this is still a good movie, but the pacing is definitely the biggest problem. I mean, it's slow at times, but at other times it's a little bit too slow. It kind of, takes away from the excitement, which is weird because I would expect this to be overly fast-paced because of how many subplots are in this movie, kind of like with, say, Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff being set up. However, then there are scenes to where it does feel a little bit too rushed and, going a little bit too fast, and yet there are other scenes to where it's like a little bit too slow. These are few and far between, but it's kind of, I just found it a little bit weird that you get two of these different types of, negative scenes in the movie, like scenes that are too fast-paced and then, too rushed, and then other scenes that take their time a little bit too much. I thought, I don't know, maybe maybe I'm just tired, maybe I'll work out my opinions, because I do want to see the movie a second time before I do my other video that, again, I might be making with my friend that I'm about to be visiting. Anyway, sorry, I keep on getting off track here, but just basically there's some pacing issues, certain things I would have liked to be developed more, just in case you hadn't seen the trailers, because I personally only watched the first teaser trailer. I just, didn't want to know hardly anything going into this movie. So basically a certain character pops up, and you probably do know, but just in case this popular Superman villain shows up, I would have liked it if, there would have been more development. I would have liked if there would just be another standalone Superman movie, and this character just be the villain throughout the majority of it, but that's not how they did it, and it's done well in this movie. So overall, I'd say that character was handled well, and as well as it possibly could have been. But part of me, in the back of my head, was still nagging me, like, dang it, it would have been so much cooler if they just did a standalone movie with this character as the villain. But yeah, just overall, there is a lot of stuff crammed into this movie. However, Zack Snyder and all the people involved with this movie handled it as best as they could. Now, a lot of people don't like the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but personally I do. Here's the thing. Both Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 are overcrowded with subplots. However, Amazing Spider-Man 2 handles it about as well as a movie with so many subplots could, in my opinion. So it works as well as it could. Whereas Spider-Man 3 is just a jumbled mess. It doesn't handle it very well at all. Batman v Superman feels a lot more like Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, yes, there's a lot of stuff, however, for the vast majority of the time, it handles it pretty darn well, and so it's definitely overcrowded, but it usually doesn't feel so overcrowded just because Zack Snyder did such a great job with this movie. It could have benefited from some extra length, which is why I definitely can't wait to buy this movie on Blu-ray, see the director's cut, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be longer, not to mention it's like R-rated, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, overall, very good movie, almost great. It definitely has some problems, and because of those problems, like, mainly the pacing, that kind of does glare out at me a little bit. But then I remember just other moments throughout the movie, not just moments, but like just continuous scenes and continuous stretches of the movie that are just straight up great. And most of the time, like, everything is good, so it balances out, and overall, this is a very good movie. And I can't give it anything lower than a B+. It's not as good as Man of Steel, which I gave an A. I love Man of Steel, and I don't quite love this movie, although I don't know. I mean, I do feel like I could definitely benefit from a second viewing, not just, to be able to make a better second reaction video for you guys, but also just to enjoy the movie more, because I do think I'd like it more a second time, so we'll see if my opinion changes. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please rate and comment and subscribe, and if you want to, you can also share. And